Hi, Susan here. Okay, I'm going to continue the pant series that I had started with my slipper block pattern, designing and tweaking the pattern. Today I'm going to show you how to put a pocket onto this pant design, cut and sew it, and that's what's next. Alright guys, if you're new to this series, I'm doing a whole series with the great release of my pant slipper block that is now on my website in a PDF form that is printable from sizes 4 to 16. I've done 4 videos already on this, one introducing it, another one actually showing you how to find the right size points and tweak it to make a perfect slipper block pattern for yourself. Then I did another video on how to actually create that slipper block and make it into a design pattern. I also showed you how to cut and sew it, and I made this little fun little denim pant just to display that. I'm going to put all these links to these videos in the description box below. I hope you're going to love this video. You're going to continue all the way through and come on board and subscribe and be a part of my community, because today I'm going to show you how to make a pocket for this design and how to cut and sew it. Let's get started. So here is the designer pattern, or the pant pattern that I did from my slipper block pattern here that is part of my slopers. So this is a design. There's a lot of scribbling. There's a lot of different changes. That's okay. I actually like to keep my pattern that way because when I see the different lines, I know that it has been changed or it has been altered. Sometimes I'll actually even put a date or a month when I did the last changes on the pattern, so I know and can remember any kind of tweaking that I did. That pant design was featuring a yoke waistband and a fly front. Here is the pant that I did just as a first try. I did in this fun little patchwork denim, and I show you how to do all of the fly front, how to accomplish a nice yoke waistband, and all the finishings and techniques of sewing this pant together. I want to add to this pant a nice pocket, and I want to show you how to do that and cut and sew it. Let's get started. And I've already drawn in the shape of the pocket I want. I don't want the pocket to go all the way to the side seam. I want it to come inside of the side seam so it's not so bulky there. And you want to make sure that it will fit your hand. So I drew out first the shape of where I want the opening to be, like that. Then I drew out the bag or the pocket bag itself inside, being able to fit most of my hand in. As a designer pant, you really don't need it to be that big, but I want to at least be able to clear my hand, and I drew out that shape all the way from the side seam to the top where the waistband is. Now that we have that shape, we have to then get another piece of paper, and I'm a stickler for grain lines. Here's my grain line here. I have another piece of pattern making paper. There is my grain line. I'm going to put it grain lines to grain line, where I'm going to make sure that I have the grain lines matching. Like that. Now I'm going to take my long prong tracing wheel, and I am going to trace out the shape that I have here for where the bag is and how large it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and trace that all the way around through that side there, like that. Trace out the side seam, which is there all the way up for now. To where it ends. Then I'm going to take that off, and you have it here. I have to take whatever rulers work and fill in those lines with those dots and continue the shape as needed with my rulers. After I do that, I need to give myself a 1/2 inch seam allowance inside of this bag of where the pocket is going to be, all the way around inside here like that. This already has seam allowance, so that's fine. And the side seam already has seam allowance, so that is fine. Continue that line like that. Then you want to just cut this out, and you will get a shape like this, which is the same as that shape here, matching all the notches and the extension as well as your seam allowance. When that's done, you need another piece of paper. I'm going to put grain line to grain line again. Now I'm going to trace out this shape again, right here, where the opening is. And here. All the way around that pocket bag as well. I'm going to trace out all of this space here, all the way up to where that design starts. I'm going to trace out this section here all the way to where the design starts on the waistband. After I do that, I'm going to take this off. I now have to fill in all of those dots again. Okay, so I traced them both out. The camera died in the middle of that segment. So I have the one piece that was traced out here. Then I have the other piece that's traced out where the actual opening is. So that opening has that 1/4 inch seam allowance. This will have part of the front of the pant in it. Then and only then can you cut off the excess of the actual pant itself, with including a 1/4 inch seam allowance in that opening. You need that for the seam allowance. So once you have that, go ahead and you can cut that piece out. Put it aside. So now this piece will be sewn into this piece at a 1/4 inch. That will clean finish that opening of where the pocket is going to be, and then this is part of the bag and the side of the actual band on the front pants. Now that that's all together like that, you want to make sure that these notches match here together. And that it fits. You have to have this notch, guys, so you know how far over this goes and how much more was for your actual pant that you just cut off. So this is going to be sewn into there as well. And when that's all sewn in, have your pocket opening here where your hand will go through, where the side of your pant is. This will be sewn into the side, secured at the side seam, and this will be secured at the waist yoke. Okay, I cut it out of this beautiful silk brocade, the real thing, for the second time around. And here we are with the pocket pieces. This is the one with the side. Here is the inside part. And here is the front pant. The first step will be to take this piece here. We could do it in lining as well as self. I wanted to make it less complicated, so I didn't do that. So I did it all with the self fabric. And I'm going to put that here for the pocket opening, like this. Stitching a 1/4 inch seam allowance or seam line all the way around here on both sides. Most definitely will probably marrow it as well because this is fraying quite a bit, and I'll be right back. And this frays so much because it's like a satin weave and it's all silk. So I did marrow that edge. Now I'm going to back stitch it to the pocket part only and then press it back, and I'll be right back. Okay, it's nice and clean on the front. It's back stitched inside so it pulls that away. It's clean inside as well. The next step is to take the other pocket piece and then right sides together, pinning the inside bag together separately like this. Stitch this a 1/2 inch, marrow the edge, and I'll be right back. Okay, there it is. It's stitched. Now to turn it over to the front. The last thing you need to do is check. You can see my notch is right here, and that notch matches exactly where that seam line is so that it's lined up properly, and I know it's not too much or too little. And then I'm just going to stitch this up here to secure it 1/2 inch, and then stitch here on the side seams to secure it. To get to the next step of actually sewing the pant together. So let me stitch that and I'll be right back. Alright guys, there it is. It's sewn inside. The pocket is finished. And your hand can go in there nicely. And this is the side of your pant. So it's ready to be sewn in for the rest of the pant. And if I get that done before this is uploaded, I will show you a picture of that. Otherwise, I hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up. Come on board, guys, and subscribe and be a part of my community so you can learn all about fashion design. And I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.